trillion. Then we added Bitcoin. We thought of Bitcoin as a company. Today, I think Bitcoin is 2 trillion. And we're like, well, could it get to also 4 or 5 trillion? Obviously, Bitcoin's not a company. It'd be like saying if gold's a company, but I thought it was interesting as a new asset.
Yeah, market cap.
Market cap, 2 trillion is so big.
When did you get involved in Bitcoin?
You know, I've not gotten involved with Bitcoin, and I wake up every day at 3 in the morning, and I'm like, why am I such an idiot? What have I been waiting for, not being involved in it? And it just goes up and up. In the past, I think this is interesting, the retail investors, they were much faster at getting involved with Bitcoin than the institutional ones. And I always thought Bitcoin's amazing, but it's double or triple the volatility of the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's already pretty volatile. Why do I need to deal with this added volatility? Recently, Bitcoin, when it went down during the tariff, only went down as much as NASDAQ. So it seems the volatility as an asset class is coming down, which I thought was pretty interesting.
But given your sort of thesis, do you say to yourself, even at this point in the ball game, if you think it's going to double or triple and going to be part of the NASDAQ 100, if you were to think of it as a company?
Yes, I have to think about it.
That you should own it now?
Yes, I have to think about it now. Do I own it now? Do I own it tomorrow or in a few days? But every day, I do think, why do I not own it? And I think to be a good investor, it's not just like owning the obvious stock, but sometimes you have to change your mind and you have to just say, well, I made a mistake and I'm changing my mind, and maybe Bitcoin will do that.
If you don't know who this is billionaire Philip Lafont, worth $6.5 billion, give or take, talking about just buying Bitcoin right now. The big money is waking up to Bitcoin's value, its store value. Everybody deserves the price of Bitcoin when they get in. And he sort of kicks himself and says, why have I not gotten into Bitcoin? This is just one billionaire. Michael Saylor mentioned before, what happens when 10 Michael Saylors occur? Price of Bitcoin is going to be going up forever. And with that, what's happening in Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you with another cryptocurrency video. Getting straight into it. Right now, Bitcoin's trading at 108.2K. What do we see? What do we anticipate? Looking on the macro, we've showed you this time and time again. This is that 2021 peak. This is the bear cycle. And this can be looked at as an inverse head and shoulders. This can be looked at as a huge cup and handle. We had this blast up and now this back test of this resistance, 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 flip to support, and now we're back up towards new all-time highs. Technical target takes us all the way up to $130,000. What will happen when we get up to these levels? And if we zoom into the current price action that really started forming in November of last year, you see this seems to be another inverse head and shoulders pattern. Where does this take us up to? You can take this from the neckline and what the potential breakout point could be whenever that's going to play out. This shows an extension potentially of that 130 range up to $140,000. So you're looking at $130,000 to $140,000. And could we rip past that? That's definitely a possibility and in the cards. Taking a look at our first update from Market Maestro, shout out to them. This shows you that we're still in the early innings. We've been in a bull market for 2.5 years, but you see every time we blast through this 50 range, that's when the parabolic peaks tend to then take off every single time. We have not got through that range as of yet. So could we get a double or triple, quadruple, 4x, 5x from where we are right now? That's definitely in the realm of possibility. Stock Money Lizards is weighing in, and he's showing the same thing. Despite the fact we've been in a 2.5-year bull run, there will be another massive leg up. And what is this showing us? This is the Satoshi meter right here. This ebbs and flows, but once we get into that overbought territory, the purple territory, that is the sell signal. And we have not even got up close as of now. So could this be around the corner? Most definitely. And this is another view of that Satoshi meter. We've hit this level 1, 2, 3 times before. Haven't even got to the midway point of this bottoming level. So are you prepared for what's to come? And if you don't understand the value of Bitcoin, just look at the metrics, look at the numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Bitcoin versus inflation. In 2020, $100 is now worth $76 present day. The dollar has lost 24% of its purchasing power over a 5-year window. In that same 5-year window, what has Bitcoin did? Bitcoins went from $100 all the way up to $1,200. So while the dollar depreciated 24%, Bitcoins went up a 12x. Do you see the value? And right here, another indication that we're going to be seeing another leg up. This is mirroring the 2021-2024 bull cycle, this rounding bottom, this bullish divergence, and then we blasted up into this downwards trending channel. Looks like some type of flag pattern before having that continuation to the upside. Look how this looks symmetrical to 2025. This is a divergence on the higher time frame, downwards trending channel in the flag pattern, and a continuation to the upside is what's in the cards and what's to come. Right here, looking at this Bitcoin dominance chart, it's at 65, and we zoomed into this, we've showed you this, we talked about this before, and look here, we're just trading around this 20 moving average. We fall below it, we keep acting as resistance, and this recently just broke the previous highs around 64.7, had a candle closes above that. This could just keep stair-stepping its way up and beyond. People are waiting for that altcoin season, but if Bitcoin continues to run its leg up, look to the left of the chart. If Bitcoin gets above these levels, the 69 to 72 range, and it gets into this meltdown phase, on the opposite side, this could be a melt up phase for Bitcoin. And look where that takes you back up to 90+%, meaning altcoins would get decimated in this scenario. You don't want to see this play out. And right now you're seeing people on Reddit, these Bitcoin posts talking about, I took out a $10,000 personal loan to buy Bitcoin, $120,000 loan to buy Bitcoin, taking out a loan to buy Bitcoin. Be careful with leverage. As long as the loan's structured to where you can, make the payments in a worst case scenario, it's not that crazy of an interest rate. Be careful with this. This happened last cycle. People were leveraging their homes buying Bitcoin near the peak. And then people didn't have diamond hands, didn't hold through the 22-23 bear cycle, and ended up selling at a loss and being extremely underwater with their home's equity. So keep all of that in mind. Don't let this be you. And really quick, we'll end with Thomas Lee, and he's talking about, should Jerome Powell cut interest rates? Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, so let's get into some stuff around the markets that I think people will be interested in. Here's a tough one, or here's the easy one. Not tough at all, no pressure. Should Powell be cutting rates?
As you know, I actually almost never comment on it, like my opinion on it. In fact, in our writings to our clients, because we have about 10,000 RIA clients and 300 hedge funds, but I do show them evidence and then say well, what do you think, right? And so if I did that, sort of say, here's how the Fed's supposed to be and what they're supposed to look at, then what seems appropriate? For instance, we know that core inflation is probably really at 2, using the measurement that the ECB uses.
Correct.
Because the ECB excludes shelter.
Right.
So just by excluding housing from the US CPI, core CPI calculation, inflation's 1.9. The ECB's at 2.5%, Fed's at 4.5. So why, if just conceptually, the Fed's 200 basis points tighter than the ECB, but the difference is because of housing?
Correct.
So is the Fed trying to destroy the housing market? And they're not. Yes, so that would make me wonder. The second would be, the Fed said tariffs are going to create inflation this summer, so they're going to wait to cut. We recently wrote about this to our clients, and I think we shared some on Twitter. Tariffs are actually a tax because the money goes to the government. So in other words, imagine if the US government said, I'm going to tax gasoline with an extra $6 tax.
Right.
And then, CPI of gasoline jumps. The Fed's not going to raise rates because they'd be like, people's wallets just got hit.
Right.
So we might actually cut because they're getting hit by paying this tax to the government, because the government gets the money and it goes back in the economy. So it's not inflation. It's just transferring the money. That's what a tariff is, right? Someone pays it, goes to the government, goes back in the economy. That's not inflation. It's actually like a tax. That's like saying if the price increase takes place in a different part of the chain, it's inflation, but it's a tax later on.
Right.
Which we know mathematically, like transitive property is a tax is a tax. Like no matter where it is, it's a tax.
Right.